So what if I told you that some people have a literal superpower hidden in their blood? Yeah, a power that lets them not just survive, but actually thrive in the absolute coldest places on the entire planet. Today, we're going to uncover that secret.
Just look at this number, negative 71.2 degrees Celsius. That's minus 96 Fahrenheit. And no, that's not some temperature recorded on Mars or in Antarctica. That's a temperature recorded in a town in Siberia, where people actually live.
It just makes you stop and think, how on earth is that even possible? What does it take to call a place home when the very air you're breathing could literally freeze your lungs?
To find the answer, we have to go right to the source. So our journey starts in Yakutia, this huge region in Siberia that has, earned the pretty intense nickname, the Pole of Cold.
This is what really puts it all into perspective. In Yakutia, a snow day doesn't even happen unless the temperature drops below minus 52 Celsius. For them, minus 40 is just a Tuesday, a bit of a crisp afternoon.
The cold shapes every single part of life, right down to death itself. The ground there is permafrost. It is permanently frozen solid. So digging a grave isn't a job for a few hours. We're talking days. It can take up to 3 days, with bonfires burning around the clock just to thaw the earth inch by painful inch.
It's wild. Here, the environment is your infrastructure. You go to the local market, you won't see any big, humming freezers. Why would you need one? The open air keeps fish and meat frozen solid. They're just stacked up like firewood.
But what's it really like for the people there? Well, a local resident, Anastasia Gruzdeva, she puts it perfectly. She says, you don't fight it, you adjust and dress accordingly, or you suffer. And that right there, that's the key word, adjust.
So if you can't fight the cold, how exactly do you adjust to it? Let's take a look at how they managed to survive in this Siberian extreme.
Okay, a huge piece of the puzzle is diet. Forget about salads. Survival here is fueled by high-energy, high-fat foods. We're talking reindeer and horse meat, soup just packed with calories, and local delicacies like stroganina. That's frozen raw fish, shaved into these thin, perfect curls. They even consume ice cubes of frozen horse blood to get vital nutrients. It's all about fuel.
And daily life is just full of these ingenious solutions. People will leave their cars running pretty much 24/7 because if you shut them off, the battery dies and the oil freezes solid. That's it. Homes are built up on stilts, otherwise the heat from the house would melt the permafrost underneath and the whole thing would just collapse. And getting dressed, the locals call it dressing like a cabbage, layer after layer after layer.
I mean, these are all incredible cultural and behavioral adaptations, right? But it got scientists wondering, could there be something more going on? A deeper kind of warmth, something happening on the inside.
Which brings us to this incredible possibility. I mean, after thousands and thousands of years in this brutal climate, could the cold itself have physically reshaped people on a genetic level? Could evolution have actually given them an invisible edge? To find out, scientists had to look inside the human code itself. They began a hunt, scanning the genomes of the Siberian people, looking for answers.
And a landmark study back in 2014 did exactly that. Researchers took on this huge project, analyzing the DNA of 200 people from 10 different indigenous Siberian populations, covering a massive geographical area.
So how do you find an adaptation gene? Well, it was basically like a genetic detective story. Step 1, you collect the DNA. Step 2, you scan over 700,000 genetic markers. And then step 3, this is the most important part. You hunt for something called signals of positive selection. These are genes that have become unusually common because they gave the people who had them a real survival advantage in the cold.
And what they found was just astounding. This is where the detective story really paid off. They unlocked the specific cold-proof genes.
Okay, but to understand what they found, we need a super quick biology lesson on something called basal metabolic rate, or BMR. The easiest way to think of it is as your body's internal furnace. It's the energy you burn just by being alive, just sitting there. A higher BMR means your furnace runs hotter, and that creates more internal heat.
And the hunt led them right here. The study found really strong evidence for adaptation on several genes, but 3 of them really stood out. You've got CPT1A, which helps the body turn fat into energy way more efficiently. Think of it like a high-performance engine. Theta also helps regulate all that energy. And then there's PRKG1, which helps blood vessels contract to keep your core body heat from escaping. It is literally a biological toolkit designed for the cold.
So what does this all mean? What is the legacy of this incredible survival story, one that's written directly into their DNA?
Well, ultimately, this isn't just a story about surviving, it's a story about thriving. These genetic changes are just this stunning, real-world example of human evolution in action, a biological answer to one of the harshest challenges on the entire planet.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty fascinating question to think about. The people of Siberia evolved a unique adaptation to their world. So as our world continues to change in all these unpredictable ways, you have to wonder, what other superpowers might be lying hidden in our own DNA, just waiting for the right moment to be discovered?